Hey everyone, I'm Marty and this is Neo Sprint. I didn't buy the game, it was sent to me, thank you. Keep in mind that my opinions are my own. It's important because this is a review and there's plenty to talk about. Neo Sprint is an arcade racing game that's part of the long-standing Sprint series dating back to 1976. But let's skip the history lesson and dive straight into the game. Neo Sprint offers a single player mode and single screen multiplayer, although I haven't had the chance to try out the multiplayer. The game features 5 modes: Campaign, Grand Prix, Free Race, Obstacle Course, and Time Trial. Plus, you can build your own tracks, but we'll get into that later. From the start, you can choose from 9 different car types. Customization options include car color, driver build, and steering sensitivity. Initially, cars have basic paint jobs, but more options unlock as you progress. You also get to choose between 2 camera styles: focus on the track or focus on the car. The track-focused camera zooms out to show the whole track, which can make steering tricky on larger courses. The car-focused camera zooms out slowly for some reason, which can be a bit annoying. Personally, I'd prefer to set my own zoom level. In Neo Sprint, every car feels unique with differences in stats like acceleration, speed, and turning. The car dimensions also matter. Longer cars turn differently than wider ones. These differences are subtle but noticeable, adding a layer of depth to the gameplay. The game's physics are quite engaging. Cars don't stick to the track. They can jump right over lower cars and even roll over, but always land back on their wheels. There's a reset option if you get stuck, though I never needed to use it. Cars can slide, bump into each other, and crash. There's a damage system indicated by smoke, but it doesn't seem to affect the car's performance. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't completely wreck my car. So I don't know if it's possible. I did see an AI opponent fall off the track once, so it's possible to go out of bounds, but I never managed to do it myself. You can feel the weight of the cars, dictated by their stats. The handbrake is useful for drifting and taking sharp turns. There's drafting, which gives a speed boost if you line up behind another car. The tracks in Neo Sprint are well designed, colorful, and very detailed. Sometimes obstacles can obscure your view, which seems intentional to increase difficulty, I guess. On multi-story tracks, when you go under a bridge or behind a banner, your car shows up in a small, transparent bubble. This can be disorienting at times. When cars cross the finish line on the final lap, they disappear in a strange manner. Not a big deal, but it feels a bit odd. Tracks are set in 4 environments: Greenwoods, Drylands, Frostpeak, and Atari, a neon city. Each track can be played at different times of day: morning, afternoon, and night. The game runs smoothly without any performance issues, micro stutters, or glitches. Alright, let's talk about the campaign mode. There are 3 main cups set in 3 different locations: Greenwoods, Drylands, and Frostpeak, plus a secret cup in the Neon City. In each cup, players race on 4 sets of tracks, 3 regular ones, and 1 versus race, where you go one-on-one with a special opponent, whom I like to call the race leaders. After winning a cup, you get to open a loot box that contains new elements for track building, car paint jobs, assets, and new types of races in other modes. Now, the first cup was ridiculously easy. At one point, I completely zoned out and even stopped to let my opponents catch up. Moving on to the second cup, it got a little more engaging. The AI cars started to move and react faster, and my car was getting damaged and smoking more often. But to be honest, it was still too easy. The third cup is where things finally got interesting. It happened that I didn't take first place on my first try and had to use the limited retry race option. The AI opponents don't drive like they're on rails. They react, reset, crash, and even drift a bit. However, they're pretty slow at doing all that, and there should definitely be more of them. You know, it's a blast when a race starts and all the cars bump into each other, creating a chaotic mess. That's why having more opponents, even on smaller tracks, would make things more unpredictable and fun. The limited size of the tracks doesn't really allow for building up much speed since you have to turn every 3 seconds anyway. There was one multi-story track that was a real challenge and the most fun part of the campaign. I took second place there, but it didn't matter since I was still first in the overall results. Of course, I retried to get the gold. The first track of the last round of the Frost Peak Cup was super exciting with lots of crashes, clutches, destruction, and rollovers. I fought till the very last inch of the track. It was awesome. Overall, the campaign is fun, but short. Each race is only 3 laps long and there is no difficulty choice. Even though I had to focus and sometimes try hard to win, it would be much more enjoyable with more opponents and if they were faster, making the race for first place more intense. When I beat 3 cups, the 4th secret cup was unlocked. I thought it would be super hard, but it was actually easier than the previous ones because it consisted of just versus races with the race leaders. Though I must say, Neon City looks amazing. And by the way, finishing the campaign unlocks all cups in the other game modes. So let's talk about the other game modes. Free race mode, great for practice or testing out your own or others' tracks. You can set the difficulty, number of opponents, and other options. Time trial mode has 4 cups, with each cup featuring 4 sets of races, and each set contains 3 tracks. The goal here is to beat the ghost car and set the best time. Now, it's not just about perfect driving. Choosing the right car is crucial. For example, on the first track, I picked a balanced car that had decent speed and a high turn stat. I drove flawlessly, but the car just didn't have enough acceleration. So I switched to a car with high acceleration but terrible turning. And guess what? I got the gold easily and even beat my own record. There's no set number of laps. You can drive until you beat the record and you can end it anytime. After getting medals, bronze, silver or gold, you get to open a loot box with some rewards. Obstacle course is like a boosted time trial. You've got only 1 lap, but the track is packed with all kinds of obstacles. Oil spills, roadblocks, traffic cones, slow strips, and speed boosts that might not always be helpful. If you hit any obstacle, you'll get a time penalty, so you've got to be both quick and precise. Just like other modes, this one has 4 cups, each with 4 sets of races, and each set has 3 tracks. It's fast-paced, super fun, and really challenging. There are no other cars or ghost cars on the track, it's just you against the clock. Grand Prix is, in my opinion, the best mode, but it's also the most neglected. Imagine a mix of campaign and obstacle course. You get to choose the difficulty, the location, the number of opponents, the obstacles, and even set up your own track sets. This is what I think the campaign mode should have been like. Grand Prix is hands down the most fun mode in Neosprint, but it's got elements of free race, meaning you get no rewards, no medals, nothing to achieve. It's a blast to play, but there's no sense of progression or accomplishment. It's a shame. Now let's talk about the building mode. Creating your own tracks is definitely a cool feature, but it comes with two major flaws. First off, you cannot use the mouse. You have to use the keyboard to line up elements, which is super inconvenient and time consuming. Maybe it's better with the controller. What's funny is that the mouse pointer is there all the time, but it disappears when you switch to the build tracks mode. The second issue is that you need to finish races in other modes to unlock track elements, obstacles, and decorations, so you cannot fully utilize the build tracks mode until you've unlocked everything. Despite these flaws, building your own tracks is still an awesome option to have. Last but not least, the audio experience in Neosprint. The music in the game is fantastic. Retro synthwave beats, not intrusive, quite mellow, without becoming monotonous. The sound effects are good but limited. You'll hear car engines, crashes, and interface blips, but there's no crowd cheering or voiced race leaders. To sum up, Neosprint is a solid arcade racing game with tons of content and unlockables. It's super fun, runs smoothly, and looks great. The campaign could be more challenging, and adding mouse support in the build mode would be a big improvement. Online multiplayer would make it perfect. Overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching, see you in the next video, and thank you very much for every single subscription and thumb up. Thank you. That's it for now. Bye!